let's start with it. Where is this automated project generation coming from? What's the reason of this webinar today? Well, this is coming from the field. It's coming from you. It's coming from our customers out there that are demanding that. And this is based on what we call the 80-12-8. I'm going to explain that a little bit further in just a moment. This is going to be the first step in our meeting today. It's going to be very quick. Then I'm going to show how is the proposal from SOLIDWORKS to face this. And at the very end of it, something that a lot of people requested is how to not only generate, but to change the standard of a project from, let's say, AC international standard, for instance, to ANSI, or vice versa. Okay, so I thought that would be worth to take a look at. Okay, so let's go for the first point, the 80-12-8. What means that? That means that what we get again from our customers is that there are many needs in business today, but one of them, probably the most critical, is the ability to launch products quickly, to have innovation, to be to invest in innovation, and to be able to get to the market the first, just before your competitors. And this is what the 80-12-8 means. If you take a look at those bars, there is a 90-8-2 bar from the top. This is coming from a survey we that I think this has like 3 years, more or less. I don't think it has changed much. But this is coming from our customers. And what they said is that 90% of the time, of their time, is invested on the drawing board. Okay, to create drawings, to modify drawings, or maybe to create documentation from those drawings. Okay, and just the 10% of that time goes to improve the product itself. Just the 10%. 8% actually goes to improve it, and only 2%, there is a room so narrow as 2% that goes to innovation. What we got from that is that if they could change this and move from 90% of the time spent on the drawing board to 80%, so you can make it double the time you invest for improving your products, that will be a huge step in the right direction. That's how they define that. And this is the reason for today. Okay, this time on the drawing board, we know from the experience that many of the tasks on that period of time are tasks without added value. Tasks like typing a bill of materials, or drawing lines, or I don't know, changing a description for your next project, or translating, things like that. So this is a problem, because we are having high skilled people spending time on very low profile tasks. So we try to help on this through SOLIDWORKS. What is the impact of those tasks? Well, the impact is that, as we mentioned just a moment ago, it's blocking the innovation of your products. And this is bad for the future. Well, for the present, actually. It's bad for the proposal we are giving to the market. We need to be innovate. We need to innovate. We need to be at the forefront of the technology nowadays. And of course, this creates a delay in the time to market, because all these tasks, very time consuming, they are postponing, because I'm spending more time on the drawing board. I need more time to finish the project. I need more time to put that project to the market. Okay, so what tasks are these? Well, I've just put here some of them. Okay, just some of them, like reuse data. Take some old template, let's say, old project, and change the data there to create a new project. This is a very typical scenario, but sometimes the way we deal with it is not the best. Okay, I mentioned that before. Change the standard. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to change the project. I'm not going to do any addition in it. I'm just going to change this standard to this other standard because I need to deliver the project to a country that is using a different standard. Checking errors. I have had meetings with project managers that told me that 50% of the time is checking errors from the project. Literally, 50% of the time is just checking. Generation of documents. That could be a bill of materials. That could be any report that you may think of. Okay, and then import export files to different formats. All that, it's keeping me away from the target of getting very quickly into the market. Okay, so we'll try to address those needs today. I would like now at this point of the webinar to ask you about if you feel that today you are really in the you're doing repetitive tasks. You're really put into this situation where you need to generate a lot of information, like reports, like drawings, that are really taking a lot of time from you, but you feel that you are not really giving a value into it. What I can see from you now is that there is a 3/4 from your side that say yes, that we are really feeling that we are in this situation today. So yeah, thanks very much. And I can see the majority of people has voted, so it's a very good approach, the one we have here. So thanks very much. So 3/4 of the people attending today are at some degree close to this situation that we describe. Again, it's all what you can see today is coming from the field. It's really what we have from our users. So let's now take a look to an example, and I'm going in a minute. I'm going to the practical side of this webinar. Let's imagine how this is that could be one proposal. That's a proposal from our side, from SOLIDWORKS, but you may think of better scenarios with the same tools we are going to use today. But let's think about this. How many times we got in our company a sales rep that has a meeting with a customer, and then the customer, of course, is giving the requirements. We need this in such way and time. Okay, and then the sales rep is basically taking notes of all that, and that goes to drops an email to the drawing office, typically, with all that. The drawing office takes this information and generates a quote based on the experience, based on, well, different systems that may have in the company. Then that goes back to the sales rep, and from the sales rep, that goes to the customer. Okay, and that it's not just once. That could be n times. I'm sure you've been in that kind of situation where when the quote goes back to the customer, the customer thinks of, well, that's too much, or well, maybe I need I have a new requirement, so something needs to be changed. So please take this new requirement, and that goes back through the sales rep into the drawing office, and you need to generate a new quote. Well, what we propose in this situation is that the customer has a meeting with the sales rep, and the sales rep can generate a quotation for that, okay, without going into the drawing, into the engineers, into the drawing office, because it's quite mechanical if you think about it. Is that we've got these requirements A, B, C. That means this. Okay. Of course, that won't be the 100%. There will be always one specific case when the customer is asking for something that it's not there. Okay. In that case, we'll need to go to the engineer and ask directly. But if again we can reduce that traffic, let's say 50%, I think it's worth to try. Okay. And again, all this time that we save from our engineers, it's room that we get for innovation or other tasks that are more relevant for our products today. Okay. Okay. So this, sorry about the joke. People get a bit afraid, nervous when they say, okay, the sales rep is going to generate this. Well, not exactly. I'm going to show you that now. They are going to use a tool that we have prepared for that. Okay. But they are quite independent. Okay. So, okay. So let's take a look to it. Okay. I put that think green because we're going to do that using a very common tool today, Excel. Okay, Excel, it's pretty much everybody knows how to use it. So we are going to use this platform in order to automate our products. It's not a specific it's not a specific tool that needs to be, with different logic behind and things like that. It's just a simple Excel, nothing but that. Okay, and we will try to end this to coming to the end of the emails coming and going from different departments, just for that, to finish the project configurations, to have like a set of 10, 12 different projects, each one with let's say a different configuration, and I'm going to use this one and this one depending on the kind of project I'm going to face. Also, we'll try to finish the tasks with not added value at some degree, at least, like typing information. We are also trying to be more, when I say static, that data reuse means that it's going to be more agile, more quicker in a way, easier for everybody. Okay. And the error checking, the software has to check that for me. Okay, so I don't want to do it. So let's go to the practical side of things. And what I'm going to do is go into an Excel. Like I said, you see, this is an Excel where I created that myself. It's very, very simple. I just have a customer. We can put a customer name here, like webinar Thursday, whatever. Date automatically filled. And I've prepared these 4 parameters. And the scenario would be that our sales rep, our guy on the field, he's going there into the customer, to face the customer, and he's going to ask about what he needs, and then he's going to select yes or no for these questions. You may think it's too limited. Okay, that's right. I mean, it's a webinar, so I try to keep the things simple. Just give a top view, but you may add more very easily. You can see that in a moment. You can add more parameters into that. It's very, very easy. So in this case, let's say that I've got a customer, and from my configuration, they need the first option, which is tank filling. and I don't need the others. The customer doesn't need the rest. So okay, now let's take a look to SolidWorks, and I'm going to show you this project. This project is a project that includes all the options from that Excel you saw a moment ago, the 3 options. Okay, and what you can see here is that I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, okay, 13. Well, they are numbered. I don't know why I'm counting, because they are numbered. Okay, they have 13 drawings here. So what I'm going to do, that will be the base project for me. That includes all the possible options. It's one way of working. There may be others, but I like it that way. Okay, all the possible options are in this project. So what I'm going to do now is to create a new project, just an empty project. I'm selecting a template. That template I'm going to show you in a moment. That will be empty. Webinar Thursday again. Okay, and the customer, let's put whatever. Oh, the customer name comes from the Excel, so I don't need to. Okay, so so I'm going to show you that it's completely empty. There's probably a cover page, and that's it. I don't think there's anything else. And there we go. Now it's creating the tables and the database for my project, so it takes a few seconds. Okay, so let's take a look to this project. This project, as you can see, well, it's not empty. As I said, there is a cover page and a drawing list, which is blank, pretty much. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use this. This is the test file. So I'm going to import export, and I'm going to select this file. I just received this file. I don't even open that file. I just take it from here, from SolidWorks, and what I get is a project generated automatically based on this option. If you take a look to it, there are only 5 drawings here. There were 13 on the original one. I'm keeping a different drawing numbering system just to differentiate the original one and the other, but you can use any numbering system for your new project. That's not an issue. Okay, so in this one that was only the tank filling, I get some projects here, some circuits here. This one, for instance, the number 4, it's like the control drawing I have here. Okay, it's exactly the same. But if we go to the number 7 from the original one, you can see here I had a circuit with 2 drives. This is a drive connected to some components here, and a connector, etc. If I go to my new project and to the tank drive, you can see it here. I only have one. I'm going to open that. I only have one. Okay. So it's not just adding drawings. Inside the drawing, you may decide which part of this circuit I'm going to use, which part I don't need. Okay. So it's really live project. Okay. It's not just like copy and paste files. It's really going into the internally into the project. Okay. Okay. So that's as I said, this is purely Excel. I mean, you can see it's very, very easy. Okay, it's just go in there. That will be the scenario we described. Someone from outside the engineering department has to take the requirements. He just comes here, decides the configuration, and the project is ready to be generated completely. Not just a quotation, but the project itself. Okay. So how is this created? How we build this project? I'm going to show you how it's working inside right now. So this comes from here. Okay. And what is this? This is just the columns that I'm trying to keep these very simple. You can see I have just a few columns. if you take a look to YouTube or SolidWorks and you take a look to automation, you will probably see a very, very big Excel with a lot of columns. That's possible. I mean, the options of the XLS automation are enormous. So you may get a lot of different parameters. But at the moment, to give you a first sight to this XLS automation tool, I'm trying to keep the things a very, very basic level. Okay, and what I have here is just a column where I pick the circuit I'm going to use. Okay, so here there's a pop down, and I just need to come here and select the uh, the circuit I'm going to use. Basically that. Okay, so you see, I choose the NC. That was wrong, so I'm going to use the AC. Okay, power AC. And what about this column? As you can see, this column is not in English. Okay, this column is the name of the circuit internally inside my SolidWorks. It might happen that you work with people from other countries, or just the people that defines the name of the macro. It's kind of meaningless to you, so you don't really understand what means that. But this is the description, so everything is driving the circuit selection from the description. So let's take a look to SolidWorks. This, what you can see here, my project, the project I created just a moment ago, is based on what we called macros. Okay, and I'm going to show you what a macro is. Library macros manager, and you can see here a macro is a circuit. Could be just a component, a single component if you want to, but it could be also a circuit. Okay, so you can see here that I've got several of them, and you see this one here. This one is the one I've used. Oh, sorry, not this one. On the other page, the tank drive. Okay, you can see this one is here. This one. Okay, so I can build my project based on these macros, just selecting the macros I want to use. And this is what I'm doing in the Excel. I come here, I'm reading the description, because we have description in several languages. So if you go to any item inside the product, you see here in English and Spanish in this case. So I'm working in English at the moment, so I select the description in English. And that takes the name of the macro, the internal name of the macro, but I don't care about that. I don't need to know which is the internal name for that, because that could be meaningless. And there is another column, which is the drawing where this circuit is going to be placed. So you just need to select, okay, this circuit goes to page number 1, this goes to page number 2, etc. Or if there's also the option to include several circuits in the same page, that's not a problem. Okay, then there are more fields that I'm not using at the moment. I don't need them. Okay, and this is the bundle. This is the description. Sorry, the name of the customer. Okay, so I included that here. So it's very simple, but this is actually the way it works. So let's try to do something different. Like, I'm going now to select another option, irrigation. Okay, so if I go now to SolidWorks and I do exactly the same thing, and I'm going to here create a new project, empty, so it's going to be completely empty. I'm going to say webinar 2. Oh, sorry, webinar 2. Okay, and I'm going to create the project again. The template includes, although it's empty, has no drawings, includes information such the units you're going to use, imperial or metric system, for instance, the default language, and parameters such like those. Okay, your configuration also for graphic data, things like that. So let's go to the new project. It's here. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use now this, but with the two options. So the result must be different. So let me close these projects now. And I'm going again into Excel, File, Open. And always when I create this, I get a report that tells me if there is any problem with the circuits I've used. Okay, you can see that the way I work, I'm getting this message saying that the XY position is empty, so we assume 0. That's fine because I've prepared all my macros to be positioned from the 0, 0 point coordinate. So that's fine. That's fine. Okay. At the end, it's telling me that, yeah, it finished correctly. So yeah, should be okay. And now let's take a look to the new project. And the new project is here. Oh, sorry. Oh, I choose the wrong project. Excuse me. My fault. So I'm going to take set current and repeat the same thing. I choose the other project to add the drawings. That's not a problem. It's going to add more drawings into it. But okay. Okay, done. So now I created a new project. You see that. And if we go to the same drawing as before, the drive, now I got 2 of them. Okay, because of the configuration I choose. Right. Okay. Just remember, it's very simple. It creates from an Excel. Why from an Excel? Because we thought that it's better to include, let's say, a platform that anyone has access to it if we really want that this tool is going to be used by people not directly related with SOLIDWORKS, not engineers, someone from outside. So we thought that it's the best way to do it because people it's really used to it. Okay. And about if you take a look internally to the components inside, you will see that really it's all 100% operational. It's ready. For instance, I have a contactor on the control, and I can just do whatever I want to do. I can navigate to the power, like here. I can navigate. Sorry, I can navigate to some other contact in my project. So it's 100% operational. This is a finished project, so you can use that as it is. Okay. Okay, but then I've shown you that all comes from here. Okay, all comes from the macros. Okay, macros are really the foundations of this along with excuse me, with Excel, the foundations of this procedure. But you may think, okay, you may think it's very complicated to create this to create these macros here and to get them ready for creating projects. Okay, so well, let's take a look. How can we do this? I'm going to create a new macro. Okay, so I'm going to pick the original project, and as you can see, it has more drawings than the ones I had at the beginning. I'm just going to delete them. I don't need them. Okay, so I'm going to create a new macro. Okay, and how we create a macro? Very simple. You select the circuit, the symbol, the drawing, or maybe a group of drawings, a collection of drawings. You can select several drawings as well, and you just need to drag and drop into the library just like that. Give a name to it. Let's say macro. Today it's 2019 April. Today it's 11th. Okay, right? And I'm going to give a description to it. Let's say hydraulic macro for webinar. Okay, right. So it's it. Okay, it's in my library now. I don't need to do anything else unless I want to. Okay, I'm opening the library directly. In my case, I like to put the insertion point into the 0, 0 coordinate, as I mentioned before. But that's me. I mean, I like to work in that way. Okay. So, okay, that's the only change I've made. Okay, all the rest of components here and connections remain with the intelligence I took from the original project. Okay, so I don't need to do anything. It's fully operational. So now if I go to the Excel, one of the good things about SOLIDWORKS Electrical in this case is that it's an SQL database. It means that 99% of the information it's in a database level. And you may think, well, so what? I mean, what's the difference between having a database-based software or a file-based software, drawing file-based software like DWGs or DXF? Well, there are many, but one of them is that you can connect from here, from an Excel. Okay, so if you take a look at this, and I'm not going to spend much time on showing you this, but you remember that I just created a macro. What I did is just to refresh. Okay, I just created a macro with this name. You see, hydraulic macro for webinar is here. So that means that I can go to my list and say, okay, I'm going to include the hydraulic macro for webinar I just created. And again, you see, there is this macro name I defined for it, which is the date, but could be, could be more tricky depending on who is creating the macros. But you don't need to deal with it. I mean, it's just the description, okay? And remember, you have many descriptions. You may have for one single macro or any item in the software, you may have several descriptions in several languages, okay? So let's go to the first page, and I'm going to include the hydraulic now. Save it, just to be sure that my SOLIDWORKS is going to take the latest version of the Excel. And again, let's going to create a project, empty. I'm not giving a name to it, a special name to it, just the default. And I'm going to use the new configuration with the new macro I just created. Okay. So as you see, if you have the circuit creating the macro, it's literally 2 seconds. And having that available in your Excel spreadsheet, in this case, it's nothing. You just need to update, and that's it, and it will appear. Okay, so now let's go to repeat the same procedure again. Open, and we'll take a look to it, and we'll see what is the result. We don't need, actually, I don't need to take a look to the project. I can see here that in my list it appears the macro. Okay, perfect. So we can go here and open that up. Okay, and we got it here. Number 9, hydraulic macro for webinar. It's here. Okay, and this is fully operational. Again, this is a component, and this is another component, and I may do whatever I need to do with it. I may navigate to the power circuit because it's linked. Okay, it's not like you paste components unrelated. If you define the Excel properly, and this is just giving the same name to those components, they will be linked in the new project. Okay, you don't need to define that, okay, this motor here corresponds to this motor in the hydraulic scheme. Okay, it's already there. Okay, like cables or any other information you may have here. Okay, all right, so let's now go to back to my PowerPoint presentation. Okay, so this is what we were trying to face. I mean, trying to finish these projects, if not at 100%, at some degree. Again, the purpose of this is not probably eliminate all the issues related to that. But if we can reduce that in a significant amount of time, that will be a big benefit. That will be a big benefit to spend that on other tasks, as we talked a moment ago. Yeah, I told you this again, but we choose the Excel because we think it's very easy to configure. Anything in your mind that you use in Excel and you think that might be useful for this procedure, you may use it. I mean, it's fully 100% Excel, so you can add anything from your own experience, from your own knowledge onto that. And again, Excel, because it's easy to manage that and to use it for almost anyone out there. Create new content is very easy. Macros is just drag and drop, and it's easy to keep that updated because we connect directly with the database. If your software is based on drawings, DWGs, DXFs, then that's not possible, or not very easily, at least. Okay. So yeah, well, that was the presentation. So thanks very much. And sorry, I put this because I always forgot. Change the project standard. Many people ask for that. You see that I've been using this configuration with AAC. So can we generate the project with ANSI standard? The answer is yes. Yes. It's configured in my system. I'm going to save it again. And what I'm going to do is to generate the same project in ANSI. So again, same. In this case, I'm going to choose an ANSI template because I'm not going to use metric system. I'm going to use Imperial. And it's generating again the table, the databases. Takes a little bit the first time. It's generating everything from scratch. But what I'm going to do now is to use again the same Excel spreadsheet. I don't know if I save it, so I'm going to save it again just in case. And what I'm going to do is to go to the Excel, same file, and produce the new project for me. Okay, that again goes to the database. And if we take a look to it, to the documents here, you will see that I have now ANSI standard available. Okay, let's go to the same drawing we showed before, which is the drive. Okay, you see now the drives are in horizontal, not vertical, just to be according to the new standard. So yes, the answer is yes. You may just translate from one standard to the other based on the same principles that we've been talking about today. Okay. Okay, so let's go back again to the presentation. And now it comes the time for questions and answers. But before that, I would like to share with you very quickly another poll. And I would like to know if you consider that may help you in your work today. Again, we are not looking for the answer to all the questions, to completely eliminate all the issues related with all these tasks that are not adding value to the project. But what we're looking for is to that percentage that is worth for you to take into consideration this solution. Okay. So okay, you are still voting. So we're going to wait a few seconds more. But the majority of people is, yeah, scrolling to the 70 something percent. Okay, so it's pretty good number. Okay, so I'm going to end up just in a second, and we are going to, as soon as we finish this part, into answering some questions. I got some questions already here. Okay, right. So yeah, I will try to answer those. Okay, so again, yeah, I'm going to finish the poll now because the majority of people has already answered to it. And again, from your side, it's like the other poll a moment ago. It's among the same percentage, 3/4 from you consider that yes, definitely that may help on your work. Okay, so thanks for answering to this question again, and let's take a look to the questions we have here. I got a question from Jorge Moreno, and is asking me if electrical is included in premium SolidWorks, or do we need to purchase extra license? About that, I'm just the tech guy. If you have any question about this, about licensing or getting additional information from, let's say, the sales point of view, I need to ask you to get in touch with your reseller, your SolidWorks reseller, local reseller, and he's the one that is going to give you all that information. Okay, I'm just the tech guy here. There is a question from Henrik asking how can include the same solution for mechanical design. Okay, there are ways to automate your, today it's electrical, I'm also mechanical, but today it's supposed to be only electrical. So if you're interested in automating your mechanical design, short answer is yes, there are ways to automate your mechanical design, not exactly in the same way as we saw today, but there are ways to do it. And again, there are different ways. We got partners that do that. We can do that internally. It depends. But again, for that, please get in touch with your reseller, and the support people there will give you a better answer than the one I can give you today. But there are ways to automate the mechanical design for sure. More. There are questions about the library. The symbols I've used, the content of the component library. Some people is asking about that. The library, we've got, with the installation, there is a library of symbols and manufacturers, but this is a small part of it. The 90% of the content is online, and it's at the content portal. We call it content portal. And this is the reason for being online is because that at the first release of SolidWorks Electrical, that was included in the software. The installation of the SolidWorks took like 10 minutes. The installation of the data took like 40. So we decided to put that online so customers can go there, run a search, and download whatever they are interested. Okay, so I invite you, if you are already a user, to go there. If not, you can ask for a demo again or information to your local reseller, and he will provide you information about exactly what is the content of this library. Okay. How we create the Excel document, like the one you show at the webinar, the one called test. I tell you something. I'm not an expert in Excel. So what you saw there is very basic stuff from Excel. Again, if you decide to use this tool, or you become interested in this tool, we can show you. If you contact SolidWorks, or again, sorry, through your reseller, we can show you how to do it. Or we can directly share this file with you if you want to. But believe me, it's very, very simple. I got colleagues that they are much more advanced in Excel, and they do magic inside the Excel, things that I don't even know how to do. But what I did today is very basic stuff, very, very basic stuff. Okay. Questions about how we use this to the mechanical assembly. The mechanical assembly, it's not included today. We try to limit that into the 2D side of things. But the mechanical assembly and SolidWorks Electrical, there are specific tools to to link components in 3D with the components in the electrical 2D side of things. There are specific tools for that. If you are interested on this, please drop an email to Joe, which is the administrator of this webinar. Give us some feedback, please. If you're interested in any particular part of the software that you would like to take a look to it. Again, this comes from you. This webinar is created because of the users asking for it, and we are open to any suggestion that comes from your side. So please, if you got any suggestion, just like the one from Tharaka, sorry if I don't pronounce the name correctly, please drop an email and we can prepare future sessions based on your feedback. Okay. Can you have access to the webinar after it finishes? Yes, it will be, that's Joe Edwards, the one who is going to get in touch with you, but I believe he's going to send a link where you will be able to take a look to the webinar after we finish this. Okay. Okay, there are more questions, but unfortunately, I think we are running out of time. We are, actually beyond of it. So again, please, first, thanks very, very much for joining today to this webinar. I suggest you to go to solidworks.com, and inside solidworks.com, there are categories for different products. One of them is electrical design. You may go there, you get a lot of information about the product, so you may get a lot of useful stuff about this. You got my email. You may drop me an email if you want to, or again through your local reseller to get information, and eventually they will get to me if necessary. Okay, but they are 100% ready to answer all your questions. Okay, so once again, thanks very much for joining today. I hope that was useful for you, and I hope to see you in the next webinar. Thanks very much. Have a good day. I'm just giving you a last poll. If you have time to answer to this, to understand if you have found this webinar effective. Okay, so thanks very much. In here, I'm just adding, that was unexpected, but I'm going to add a new poll because a lot of people are requesting for more information. So please feel free to answer to this poll, and that will be easier from our side to get in touch with you for giving you more information about the products, or just to keep contact with you about new webinars. Okay.